won the Warriors and advanced in the in-season tournament and came down to the wire. It was a 1-point win as Malik Monk hit a fadeaway, 7 seconds left, and Steph missed a potential game winner from deep. Here's Klay addressing the critics. This was pregame.
I don't know. Sometimes you earn these things like patience and time to find yourself. And I think history is on our side when it comes to that stuff.
You say that. Have you heard people say that, or
No, I don't care what people say. Like, they don't do what we do. They can't do what they do. That's why they talk. Why would I? Like, come on. I don't care what people say at this point in my life. Next question.
I'm with it. Before we got into the debate, I didn't know if you just wanted to react to that.
Yeah, I do want to react to that. I would say this. Maybe you should start caring. How about that, Klay? Now, I would challenge anybody on the planet. I can look Klay Thompson dead in the face. I challenge anybody on the planet that would find a bigger fan of Klay Thompson than me. I've been raving about this dude for years. You're a top 5 shooter on the planet. On the planet, okay? In terms of history, when you look at what this brother brings to the table, he's a 4-time champion. You don't win a championship even a couple of years ago against Boston, a couple of seasons ago against Boston, without Klay Thompson's contribution. We know what he's meant. We know what he meant to the Warriors because when he went down, they were never the same. Obviously, we get where he's coming from in that regard. I don't believe he should ever forgive the media for costing him $30 million because you remember back in the day when Kemba Walker was named 3rd-team All-NBA, if Klay Thompson had made one of those teams, 1st, 2nd, or 3rd team, he would have been available for the Supermax at $221 million instead of $191 million, and the Golden State Warriors would have given it to him because they had no choice at that particular moment in time. But then you go there, you get hurt in the finals and all of that stuff against Toronto. We see that. They were up by 30, by the way, when he was balling in that Game 6 before he went down. Sorry, I'm saying they weren't up by 30. He had 30 before they ultimately lost that Game 6 to Toronto. This is one of the greatest shooters in NBA history. But that ain't what you've been looking like. You're averaging 15 points a game. Klay Thompson, who religiously shoots better than 40% from 3 throughout his career, is shooting 40% from the field, 36% from three-point range. And by the way, that's an improvement. You've been playing like hot trash. That is the bottom line. We expect better from Klay Thompson. We know what kind of a champion he is. And with respectfully, what he said right there before the game last night is a flat-out cop-out. That's about you not owning up to the fact that you're not doing the kind of things we know you can do, we know you're capable of doing, and you're just trying to shrug it off like you don't give a damn. Maybe you should give a damn. Because the Klay Thompson that I know that did give a damn plays better when he cares. And it's not to even imply that he doesn't care. It's just to say that, yo, you shouldn't be uttering stuff like that out of your mouth when you playing like hot trash. Last night he did it. He had a decent first half. Ended up him and Steph Curry only combined for like 4-14 shooting and 2 of 9 from three-point range in the second half. But damn, all of the praise, all of the adulation, all of the love that you received all of these years, the second you're struggling, now you don't care about what people think, maybe you should. Maybe you should.
All right, does anyone else want to comment on the sound, or you want to get to the debate?
When they say they don't care what people say, all athletes, that's when you know they care, when people say.
Well, even more than just saying it, you could tell by his reaction. When you get that irritated, you care, right? You are listening. It does affect you. And look, I will say this about Klay Thompson. I've said it about him before. I don't think there's a player in this league that is harder on themselves when they are struggling than Klay Thompson is. He squeezes the ball too tight. He wants it to happen every time he touches it when he's not shooting well because he's got so much pride in what he does. He's got an edge to him about certain categories and ranks and historical ranking and where his pecking order is in the league amongst other stars. He's got so much pride about it. He's almost defensive at times about it, but I think it works against him when he is struggling because he's not just out there relaxed and playing. He's wanting it to happen every time he catches it, and when that happens, it snowballs the other direction for a shooter. And I think that's some of what Klay Thompson is experiencing right now.
By the way, just real quick as an ad, a career 41.5% shooter from three-point range. His first 8 years in the league, 41, 40, 41, 43, or 44 really, 42.5, 41.4, 44, 40. Those were his percentages from three-point range. One of the greatest shooters we have ever seen. You ain't measuring up to what we have come to expect from you, bro. It is that simple. Okay. We expect better.
Can I just say one thing in his defense before we move on? There is some validity to his statement, though. He's saying, like, based on my track record, give it time. I mean, Stephen A., he's been in the spotlight for so many years.
Yeah,
there
no,
might
but
be part of him that's like, I really don't care anymore at this point.
We're not addressing, nobody questioned his credentials. He's saying he doesn't care because people out there don't do what he does. Go back and watch Klay Thompson sit on a bench after he had been gone for the 2019, 2020, 2021 season. Watch him sit there and soak in all that adulation because religiously everyone has shown him love because we know how great he is.
No, I get it, but we don't do what he does. So, I mean, I'm just saying.
That's not the point.
Let's keep going.
I ain't gonna lie. If that was anybody else, that's the one. He's passionate and there's conversations, and he's shown in past that when he gets fiery, you kind of know where the limit is. The carry sign and all that, I was doing the same thing right behind him. And they gave him the tech just because that's kind of what you expect him to do in that kind of situation. And I told him like just refocus at that point and let's just hoop. But that was a dumb tech for sure. Just for him, be fiery, be competitive, be who you are. But we all need to be mindful of not getting distracted and just try to play basketball.
All right, let me give you some context on that. So at the time of Draymond's technical foul, the Kings trailed 107-98. Immediately following the tech, the Kings went on a 13-3 run to give them their first lead since the first quarter. I want to start with you here, Doug. Will Dre be a liability for Golden State?
He won't be a liability, but guys like him, they're going to, in all sports, they're not going to get the benefit of the doubt. Rasheed Wallace never got the benefit of the doubt. I give you plenty of baseball players who always moan and groan about the strike zone. You think if a borderline pitch in a big spot, the umpire is going to give that player the benefit of the doubt. He's not going to get the benefit of the doubt. And Draymond has put himself in a situation where he is not going to benefit the doubt. That didn't look that bad with the palming thing, but they're going to get called that because his reputation precedes him, and that's been going on in sports for 100 years. This is not the first time that a player that maybe didn't deserve it, but gets it based on reputation. So as a result, he's going to have to live with it. That's part of the situation with the Golden State team.
There's no player in the history of sports has gotten away with more directed at the officials than Draymond Green. I don't know how many technicals he's had in his career, how many ejections, but you could triple it easily if they gave him everything that he deserved, because he's the one guy I've seen that gets one T and then takes that as a license to really escalate things. Now,
That's a good point. Doesn't calm down. He goes up.
You never really see that at other guys. Other guys get one, and you're worried about getting ejected now, right? That's the whole point of a technical foul. Enough. Now you got to be quiet for the rest of the night and just go play. Draymond takes that as a license to say whatever I want.
Excellent point.
Because he dares people, right? So while he didn't deserve that, I understand, historically and the reputation. That's what that's based on. But I get his complaint. Now, here's the thing. What Steph is saying, look, they've got to do a better job collectively of weathering the storm when something like that happens, because it's a distraction in the moment. The crowd got into it, and that place can rock like any other arena in the league. I mean, it's unbelievable how loud it gets. I was playing against Kings teams that were winning 25 games, and it was one of the best environments in the league.
Always has been, yeah.
They love their team, and so Steph basically went on to say, look, we have to collectively be able to stem the tide if the emotions start going in that direction and it's anything attributed to Draymond, because we know how the crowd's going to react if it's Draymond Green. That's exactly what they're going to do. They're waiting for that moment. Oh, Draymond gets a tee. Now here they go. Everybody's on their feet. They're digging out of a hole, and they go on a run. Steph Curry's just saying we got to be smarter and better and collectively keep our poise in those moments. So he's really kind of protecting and defending Draymond. And to answer your question, by the way, to get back to this final thought, he's not going to be ultimately a liability because the benefits to Draymond Green still outweigh the other stuff. They do. He's their primary decision maker. He's still their best defender. He's too important to what they do on both ends of the floor where you're ever going to say that this kind of stuff outweighs now, him being on the court and the benefit he brings to the team.
If people don't see, there's a lot of people out there that talk basketball that don't know basketball because they don't realize how important Draymond Green is to this team. Look at him in that first half yesterday. Look at him for the first 3 quarters. Look at him defending. He was defending fast breaks, for crying out loud. He was doing it all defensively. And so you have to take that into consideration. And obviously he's a playmaker for them as well, getting Steph and Klay the ball. And with Chris Paul, once again, a leg injury, that certainly comes into play because that was a second playmaker, obviously, that you were relying upon. And now when you saw him go out again, see, once again, something like that happens. And the first thing you think in your mind is Chris Paul going to last for them? Is he going to be there when it really, really counts come postseason time? Because injuries have been just his Achilles heel, no pun intended, but it's just the way it is. Here's what I would tell you about Draymond Green, though. I'm glad that happened last night. I wasn't happy about it. I don't mean it like that. It's like, yeah, you got a technical foul. It wasn't deserved. But you need to know you're a target. You need to embrace the fact that you are a target when it comes to the officials. Now, do I like it? No. I think it's incredibly unfair. But he needs to know, because it's not going away. You and I both know that. It's not going away. Here's the one thing that I would say about the officials. And this is the part that I don't like about it, Doggy, and it needs to be said. 16 technical fouls, that's what it takes. After that, it's automatic one-game suspension. Thereafter, every two techs leads to an additional game suspension. We have to understand that rule. Why? Because you've been suspended during the playoffs before. You got suspended for a game last year against Sacramento. You got suspended, obviously, in 2016 for an NBA Finals that I firmly believe cost the Golden State Warriors a championship. You win games 3 and 4 in Cleveland. You go up 3-1. I'm sorry, game 4. You won game 4. You're going back to the Oracle for game 5 to close them out. And Bogut and Iguodala gets hurt in the very game you were suspended in. I believe they close out the Cleveland Cavaliers and they win the championship in 2016, but that's neither here nor there. In the end, if you are Draymond Green, there is evidence, there is residue that the technical fouls mount, and ultimately it could potentially cost you down the road. And so for me, them doing this to him now is going to force him to gather some level of self-control so you can make sure that you are available for your team. Because I can tell you right now, Joe Lacob, Steve Kerr, and those folks, that's how they're looking at this. We don't think it's fair. We don't think it's right. We'll call the league office and defend you. We'll stick up for you. But in the end, damn it, we need you. We need you on the basketball court. So could you shut up? Could you find a way to be quiet and do what you need to do to stay on the court for us and let Steph or somebody else be the bad guy for you so we know we have you on the court? That's what this comes down to. I think a message like last night is grossly as unfair as that was, and because I think it was. It's a message to him. We're coming for you. We're not going to take this. And he's too brilliant of a mind to not embrace that and understand that.
Why has it taken this long? I mean, he's gotten himself in trouble in postseason play forever. Now, all of a sudden, they're going to teach him this lesson that he's not going to get himself in trouble.
Maybe he doesn't want to change the way he plays.
He doesn't want to change forever. He doesn't want to change the way he plays. But again, that's an element of playing, but it still comes with the game, and I get that, but you have to exercise self-control to make sure you're out on that basketball court. And he did yesterday, because what he was doing, normally he would go up to the ref and get in his face. He wouldn't be doing something 10 feet away from him. Yeah. He'd actually walk up to him and get in his face. To him, that was self-control. Well, that ain't going to work.
Right.
And so because that's not going to work, now you got to come up with a different strategy. And the other point that I'll make, Doggy, real quick is this. You said, why didn't he learn? Well, here's the thing. Back in the day, you were superior. So you could afford to skip a game and you'd still find a way to win because you were the Warriors. That's not the case now. They can't win without him now. And because of that, it's even more important that he's available.